welcome back to my channel. So this week we are going to be swapping screen time for reading time, and honestly I never have my screen time on because I hate being reminded of the amount of time I spend on my phone. So I live in a state of denial and I have it off constantly, but for the sake of this video I actually turned it on about like 2 to 3 weeks ago. And yeah, safe to say there's a reason I have it off. I actually calculated every day and like how many hours I spent that day, and then I like got rid of sometimes I spend like on the messages app, the camera app, CapCut app, because that's what I use to film and edit, and like different apps. Like on Sunday I spent over an hour on AO3, but since that's reading, I'm not counting it. But yeah, the numbers circled are the amount of hours I actually have to spend reading this week, which honestly, like when it's split like this, it's not so bad, but like in total, it's almost 31 hours. Which honestly, I actually, like, is it even possible? 4 hours, almost 4 hours. So that gives you 12 hours. 6 hours, so 22 hours. Okay, I do think I did the math correctly. I was like, wait, really? Like, because it's so odd, like 4 hours, 2 hours, but like all the hours add up. So it is 30 hours, or like about that. The book I want to read today is Blue Sisters. I've talked about this book so much on this channel because I'm still like, I don't know, maybe like 1/3 left. And I struggled with this book, but now I'm liking it better, and I just want to finish it, so I'm gonna finish it. The library closes in about 2 hours, so I don't think I'll be able to go to the library and then return this and the other books today, but definitely tomorrow. I am enjoying it actually, and I like it a lot more now that they're less self-destructive and they're actually healing correctly. So I like the book a lot more, but it definitely is making me like stress out. Like, what if my sister dies? Like, genuinely, like this entire book I'm like, oh my god, I don't know what I would do, genuinely. And if you have sisters, you can probably relate. Like, I don't know what I would do if my sister died. Some other books I have are Silver Under Nightfall, it's always the glare, and then All the Bright Places, and then Stars of Chaos. These are some books that I featured in my February TBR. So yeah, hoping to get these, and of course I've got my Kindle. Let's get to reading. I've got a lot of books to get through, Blue Sisters to finish, and just like hours and hours of reading to do this week. Thankfully I don't really have a lot to do this week, but I do kind of want to like go out and do some things, so we'll see. But yeah, okay, let's get going. Eating these little sausages because I'm trying to cut down on pork, so I got the chicken ones, but these are not it. They're not it. So now like I've got 2 left. So I don't want to waste them, but like I really don't like them. And I'm running out of pepper. I keep like 1 bite and then 1 bite of just like my pepper. But that's not it. I just finished Blue Sisters, and I'm still not certain on my rating. I feel like it ranges from a 3.6 to a 4 stars. I calculated and I read 101 pages of it, so that's not bad. And I have 48 minutes left, so it took me a little bit less than 4 hours, which, yeah, I feel like with literary fiction, I really try to absorb absolutely everything, so it does take me a little longer than normal. But yeah, I did actually really like the book. It's like, it's so odd because I don't know, I have such like conflicting thoughts about it, because I just always feel like this with literary fiction, honestly. Like, I have so many things that I don't like about the book, but I still end up overall really loving the book and really rating it highly, because I just like, it sticks with me, you know? And I feel like that's why I love lit fic so much, is that the lessons learned and the themes and the plot and the characters really stick with me truly. And I felt like this, especially since I'm so connected to the theme of sisterhood, this felt just so personal to me, and it felt very well researched and well written, honestly. The Coco Mellors really wrote so many relatable things, and I related to different aspects of every character, every girl, mainly to Avery, the oldest sister. As an older sister, obviously, I related to her immensely on that front, but also on her feelings of control and, you know, so many other character traits that she had, I see that I have. And they were all flawed individuals, you know. They were very destructive in their grief, and they didn't treat each other very well, and they didn't treat other people very well. But I feel like it's just such a realistic portrait of girls, like of just girls in New York City, of a family, and just like honestly just a realistic human, you know. I do know some people don't like Coco Mellor's other book, but now she's only written 2 books, the other book and this one. And so now I'm more intrigued to read Cleopatra and Frankenstein, because I don't know if this one's considerably better than that one, or if, I don't know, they just like don't like her style of writing or anything. But yeah, I did really like it. And at times I was like, okay, this could be, I guess, like interpreted as kind of like 2-dimensional, like, or, you know, like, or 1-dimensional mostly. I feel like the characters did have their reasons for everything, and like, even though I couldn't agree with some of their actions, and it was frustrating to see so many, like, to see them fall back on all the progress they made. It's so realistic, and it's so nice. It's so nicely written to the point that you don't, like, you just like feel like they're just characters in the city living their lives, and not like made up characters, you know. And also the fact that this is set in New York City is like deep to me, because there's just so many purely New York things in this book. And it's like, if you're not a New Yorker, you wouldn't know, like the glittering sidewalk, like like that is so New York. And I just, yeah, so I did really like it. I think I might just go with a 4. I don't know, I feel like a 3.8 would be just like too low. I might just go with a 4, honestly. Yeah, okay. Happy Tuesday, everyone. So I've been listening to Spellbound. I have about like 3 hours and 10 minutes left to read today. So I read an hour basically, or I listened to this for an hour. And it's about these two, it's like a urban romantasy, and it's about these 2 teenagers who, one has magic, the other doesn't, but they're both apprentices under these bigger magical ladies. And it's kind of like a cozy vibe where they're just kind of, you know, helping people with hexes and curses and stuff like that. So nothing really intense has happened yet. I don't know if anything intense will happen. It's just kind of like cute, fun vibes. Yeah, just sorting out different like little curses and things. And then the two teens, they have this like little attraction to each other, and then the two like magical ladies are basically like frenemies, kind of like enemies, and they like always bicker, but I feel like there's definitely tension there. They're definitely like into each other. So that's what I've been listening to, and I'm going to go to the library finally to return the books I have to return. I'm still debating if I want to go to the big library that's like a 20-minute walk from here, or my library that's like 2 minutes away from here. Might be too lazy, but at the same time, like I kind of wanted to like walk around, which is, if you know me, kind of kind of funny. I hate going out. Today I also want to read this one, Silver Under Nightfall. I want to start it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued to start this one, and it is a library book, so it is due in like 2.5 weeks or something. And the only thing is like I don't think I'm gonna confuse this one with the audiobook I'm listening to, but both are fantasy, so typically I like having like audiobook romance and like reading the fantasy or stuff. But I think it's gonna be fine. But yeah, I do want to start this, so we'll see later if I do or not. I'm back home, and I actually wore this little coat because my mom borrowed the coat I normally wear, and it's just like it smells odd now. I didn't get any books at the library. I feel like that's probably the only time I've gone to the library and I haven't gotten a book, but I did read a book. I'll put it up here, and this is really short. It had a lot of beautiful illustrations. I think the illustrations were very, very nice. The story itself was just kind of like a cute little mini fairy tale, like a nice, I mean, it's kind of just like a picture book for kids, with like some deeper themes. And it's funny because I was looking at the reviews on Goodreads for this book, and one of my acquaintances on Goodreads is like, I preferred the afterword to the actual book, and like low-key same. But like this book was fine. It was just kind of like a picture book, so like I don't know if I can rate it, just because like I don't feel that I don't know what I would rate it on, you know. It's like it's a picture book. So but yeah, it was very like odd and whimsical, but I don't know, I just liked the illustrations and I saw it in the new release section, so I just decided to sit there at the library and read it. It's officially time to start this book. I'm very excited. Yes, I'm very excited. Now we have about 2 hours and 37 minutes left. I don't know if you can see that. 2 hours and 37 minutes left of reading to do today. So we're gonna do most of it for this, I think. Might read a little bit more of the audiobook, but yeah, I'm going to sit down, read this, probably put on some pajamas, but not take off my makeup for a little bit. I'm very excited. Okay, even though I've been watching Interview with the Vampire, and so like vampires have been freaking me out, because typically in books I'm not that scared of vampires, but in Interview with the Vampires, like those vampires are hungry, like they're scary, so I'm kind of scared of those vampires. So like at the moment my mind is kind of like scared of all vampires, but I think this is gonna be like a romantic-y vibe, so it shouldn't be that bad. Honestly, I don't know anything about this book except thruples, vampires, and that's it. So. Friday, everyone. So yes, I failed yesterday. I admit it. I honestly was pushing it off for so long since I only had 2 hours to read, and then it was midnight and I was like, oh shucks, I still haven't read. And then I just wanted to go to bed, so I took the L and I went to bed. Today I have 6 hours of reading, which is normal. I was always gonna have 6 hours of reading, but I'm determined to read all 6 hours and maybe get the audiobook done or something. Also, I wanted to update about this book because I realized like I was telling you guys I'm reading it, but I didn't really give like my thoughts on it before. So I'm 190 pages into the book and I am enjoying it. I think it's a solid 4 stars so far. So basically Remy, the main character, is like a vampire hunter, and he is like very skilled and he hunts vampires when they're like going crazy, I think. But now there's like this new variant of vampires that are like really creepy, grotesque creatures that doesn't matter how much you kill them, they will revive. So the human faction of the city and also of the country that he's in has kind of like formed an alliance with the normal vampires so that they can like all figure out this problem, because like these creatures are a problem for everyone. So Remy meets the 2 other main characters and his love interests at this like gala. He meets Shodan, who he has like an initial attraction to, and Shodan also is attracted to him, so it's kind of like insta love on that part, and I'm not really into that. And then Shodan's fiance is Zidan Malek, which I think the name is inspired by Zayn Malik. Anyway, Zidan Malek has actually already met Remy. It was like kind of like an enemies situation because Remy was in the middle of killing Zidan's brother when they met. So there's an enemies to lovers vibe with Zidan and Remy, and then an insta love, like immediate attraction with Shodan and Remy. So I'm not into the immediate attraction thing. It's never been my vibe, and especially in fantasy books, I wish it had been an enemies to lovers on all fronts. So yeah, I'm not into that one, but I think Shodan is cool. She's like very powerful since she's a sunbringer, so she can like channel the sun through her and like burn vampires and just like people and just like anything. So she's very powerful. She's part of the 4th court, and then Zidan is also a very powerful king of the 3rd court, so he's a very powerful vampire. He's been alive for a really long time. So now all 3 of them are embarking on this like journey to figure out more about these creatures that are plaguing the entire country. And so yeah, they're going on a journey and things are definitely gonna happen. I think the book so far is really good. I'm like really into it when I'm reading it, but I'm not like dying to read it when I'm not reading it, if you get what I mean. And then yeah, the romance part, like with Zidan and Remy, there isn't much development, but with Shodan and Remy, there's always that like they kind of want to kiss each other constantly, which like is not bad, but at the same time like Shodan is starting to get like protective and jealous over Remy, but it kind of like comes out of nowhere because it's like, okay, you find him hot, but like what else? Like they don't really know anything about each other. There hasn't been any really real development, but it's still progressing like if they were dating and had crushes on each other. So it just kind of like comes out of nowhere, and I don't really like that, but I think overall it's gonna be okay. And then for the audiobook, I'm not really into it. I think for the moment it'd probably be around a 3 stars. I find one of the narrators really annoying, so I don't like one of the characters, and like both teens are just so teenager and they're not written really well. Like they're just so cringy, and it's like a Grumpy Sunshine dynamic, and I don't like Grumpy Sunshine at all. I don't like the dynamic, I don't like the characters, and so far in like the fantasy part of it, like nothing is really happening in the plot. Like yeah, they're solving some curses and stuff, and there's like a kind of uninteresting backstory about one of the mentors, but like genuinely like nothing's really progressing in the plot wise, and we're 40% in, so I'm kind of concerned, and I'm thinking like, oh, maybe it's majority romance, but I don't care for the characters or their romance. It's also a very insta love romance, so I don't care about it, so I'm kind of freaking out about that. But yeah, I'm gonna keep listening to the audiobook, but it's definitely not my vibe, and I might DNF it, we'll see. But let's get to reading because we have 6 hours of reading. That's a tweak out because my Pokeball was not arriving, even though it was marked as delivered, but thankfully it arrived. Oh, I love these. Here's my lovely, lovely, lovely bowl. Look at this beauty. She's a beauty. I love her. I'm tired as hell. I'm so tired, but I am here to report that we have 2 hours and a half left. And I did finish Spellbound, the audiobook, and I ended up giving it a 3 stars because it was solid. It was not terrible. It was not terrible, and I was hate reading it at the middle point, but it was not bad, okay? It was okay. I still stick by everything I said before, but I will say the fantasy plot kind of picked up. Basically, I don't even think I summarized the story, but essentially there's this kid who he's not really magic, but his grandma was magic and she passes away, and so he's kind of forced to live without magic in like a foster care type system. And now he's a genius, so he graduated high school early and he wants a job, and he seeks out this super powerful witch curse breaker lady, and she's like not into being his mentor because he doesn't have magic, but he's relentless, and he becomes his office staff, and you know, they form a little relationship, and she does become his mentor. And through that there's like a rival mentor, and then the rival mentor has also her little minion romances between the two teens. And I thought there was going to be a romance between the two rival curse breakers, but there was not. And I think the story would have been a lot better if the romance was actually between the two curse breakers and the teens were side characters. I don't know if it's because I'm kind of growing out of my YA phase, but yeah, I was not super impressed by these teenagers at all. They were definitely not the best written teenagers I've read about, and they were very boring. They were bland. They had no personality, no chemistry between themselves, and I just didn't like them as characters, and I didn't like their romance. So that basically just ruined the book for me. If the romance had been, once again, with the two older ladies, I think the book would have been considerably better for me. So all in all, I give it a 3 because I don't think it was as terrible for me to give it a 2 stars, but definitely can't be higher than a 3. Like, I think already a 3 is pushing it. It could definitely be like 2.75, 2.8 category, but I don't know. I stuck by it, you know. It took me like 6 hours in total to read the entire audiobook, or maybe 6-7 hours. So like, I did consume this book for that long, and like, I would have DNF'd it if the plot didn't pick up. But since the plot picked up a little bit, and there was a whole like drama with their magical government thing, I think it was a little better. In terms of books, I wanted to read more nonfiction this month, including articles that I read online, but also nonfiction books. So any memoirs I have, and then if I see anyone that interests me at the library. And I do have this BTS memoir that I've had for a while that cost me an arm and a leg. And I'm a fan of BTS, if you guys didn't know. And I wanted to read it for a while, and I think since this month is kind of the month for me to form the habit of reading more nonfiction daily, I wanted to read it. And I'm thinking maybe since I do have 2 hours and a half, maybe I can start it. Also, since I haven't been good at keeping up this habit, and it's already the 7th of February, it's already a whole week of me crossing no in my habit tracker, so I think I might want to do it. At the same time, I'm iffy on starting a new book because we still gotta finish this one up. And yeah, literally no updates since I last talked about this. I did not read a word of this book. I was focused on finishing the audiobook and all my audiobook tasks, and now I'm gonna sit here trying to battle sleep. I'm gonna read some of this. So Hello everyone, happy Saturday. So I am here reading this book because last night I technically failed the challenge. As you saw, I had an hour and 30 minutes left, which I could have pushed through, but it was very late and I was so tired. I was hardly even grasping anything that I was reading, so I decided to just go to bed. And I'm actually currently reading the 1 hour and 30 minutes I missed, and then I'm gonna add, so basically I'm adding on the 1:30 to today's, which I think today is like 4 hours and 50 minutes, like 5 hours basically. So hopefully I do manage to also read the 5 hours, but right now I'm uploading a video, and while that's uploading I'm reading this. There was a little slightly spicy scene that just happened. So yeah, I'm quite tired still today. I don't know, I feel like whenever I'm like reading this, I'm like, I feel tired, but I'm really still enjoying the book so far. So honestly, not much to say, because yesterday, after basically talking about it, I only managed to read 30 pages, so I'm hoping to really make a dent in this book today. Hopefully I can read for all 5 hours just this book, so I can like really make a dent. But my mom is having some friends over, so that's definitely going to distract me. But yeah, I just wanted to do a little update. Oh my god, the plot twist in this book got me going crazy. I like slightly predicted it. I was slightly like, oh my god, what if like this person is involved? Yeah, turns out yes. I literally cannot predict this ending at all. Finished book, and all I gotta say is romanticities are back, baby. Romanticities are back. That ending, I mean, I know there's a sequel. The problem is some people don't like the sequel at all. Actually, the sequel has much worse reviews than this book, but the ending, like, it clearly needs a sequel, so I'm gonna read the sequel. But at the same time, like, there's not really a cliffhanger with the ending. It's kind of more like this and this will happen in the future, so we have to prepare for that. And there's obviously like a lot of questions that will be answered in the second book, or hopefully they will. But yeah, this was really good, just really good. I still don't know about my rating. I'm gonna like think about it and sleep on it. I still have an hour and 30 minutes of reading to do, so I'm gonna put on the audiobook of this audiobook right here. I think it's called The Maidens or something. It's a book I've been interested in reading / listening to. It has a really good narrator voice. I listened to a sample of it, and I love that narrator. So hopefully this is also good, but I recommend go read it. So I'm closing out the vlog, and yes, I did manage to read literally every hour I needed. I'm so impressed with myself because yesterday I ended up catching up with the 2 hours I had like missed. So the half an hour from the day before, and then an hour and a half from the day before that, so 2 hours. And then yesterday I had to read for 5 hours, and I managed to read for those 5 hours. So I did a lot of reading yesterday, and I managed to finish this book, which I did really enjoy. I ended up giving this one a 4.5. I think it's a classic romantic fantasy with a great mysterious plot, and then also really good romance, like very solid. I do think at the beginning might have been a little bit insta love, but like towards the end it makes a lot more sense, and I liked it a whole lot. And I just think they had such chemistry together, and at the same time I don't think it's fully unrealistic to have that initial physical attraction. Like at the beginning I was like, you know what do they really see in Remy? And and I think it's fine to admit that honestly they just wanted to F Remy, and then through that the relationship progressed. But I do think it's actually kind of nice in adult books where like authors are really able to show that initial attraction that in YA books you're not really allowed to show, because like it's YA, But yeah, I really like this book. I definitely recommend it, and I think it like kind of brought back my love for romanticities, or not romanticities, but romantic fantasy. I will say this is mainly a fantasy book, and then it has romantic aspects. I don't want that confused or anything, but yeah, I think this is a really phenomenal book, and I'm very happy I read it. And then I ended up reading, I think I had an hour and a half left, so I ended up reading that equivalent in the audiobook. And then I actually continued it today because we're now Monday, and I kept reading it because The Maidens is actually such a phenomenal book. But by the time the alarm rang for the hours I had to do for this video last night, I was at like 20%, I think, and this book is actually phenomenal. The only problem is that I get so freaked out with mystery horrors. With horrors, I get so freaked out, and I was so freaked out last night. I was like, maybe this is not what I should have been reading, because yeah, I was genuinely convinced someone is about to me. But then I was like, okay, you know what? Let's rein it in. But then I was like, wait, but serial killers do exist, and I was like, oh no. So I couldn't like trick myself with like, oh, that monster doesn't exist, because they do. But yeah, this book is phenomenally written. It's so good. It's so captivating. I like the shorter chapters. I just like it makes it super fast paced. I think the setting is really well. Once again, the prose, so good. Like honestly, this might be a 5-star. I think The Maidens is so good. Honestly, so good. So I don't know what's happening with the lighting, but I can't wait to continue this. I'll definitely give an update either in a wrap up or in another video, but so far this is really good, and I am really happy I picked it up, even though yesterday night might have not been the perfect time, but yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely suffered, but I think I did 30 hours of reading. Like, that's crazy, but I succeeded, I'm pretty sure. And I finished Blue Sisters. I listened to all of Spellbound. I read the Midwinter something at the library. I read the entirety of this 500 pages long romantic fantasy, and then I started The Maidens. So I think this was honestly a very productive reading week, and that was kind of the point. It was the point to have me off my phone, even though I will admit I was definitely a lot on my phone this week. I read a lot, and I'm very happy, because sometimes you just have to disconnect from your phone and just sit down and read. I'm definitely a victim of phone addictions. I won't say I have an addiction, but at the same time, like, there's so many hours that I could spend just reading or doing other hobbies I adore, and instead I'm just freaking doom scrolling and getting into arguments with people over politics. So I definitely need to stop doing that. But yes, let me know how long you typically read in a week, like how much in terms of hours. I'd like to know, because this is definitely not an average week for me, but at the same time, I'm definitely gonna try to keep the momentum going and keep reading a lot in the coming weeks. But typically, I think I definitely spend about 2 to 3 hours a day reading, so I would average probably a 20 to 30 hour week. Wait, that's how much I read this week, and I felt like it was a lot. Maybe not. Maybe it's more like a 20-hour week. That probably makes a lot more sense. I think when I was filming like a 24-hour readathon thing and I failed, it ended up spanning an entire week. I think that's about it. I think average I probably read like 20 to 24 hours, which is definitely not bad. I think with this week, what was definitely the most difficult was having to really read like 6 hours one day and then 2 hours the next. That was definitely a lot harder than I thought it would be. But yeah, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this challenge. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you in my next video very soon. Bye.